Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. The Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 123, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zachy Hassan, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend Brian Hall.
Hey. What's up, Zachy?
Well, we got a new movie to discuss, Brian.
Yes, we do.
And we will get there in just a little bit. But before we do, what's new and exciting? Have you caught anything other than the showcase for this episode?
You know, because we talked not too long ago. I haven't seen a whole lot, but then so I didn't even put it on our to-do list. But then I remembered I watched the movie MASH for the first time.
Wow.
Which I thought was worth mentioning.
That is worth mentioning. I love the movie MASH. I love the TV show MASH.
Yeah, see, I grew up with the TV show MASH. That was something, I would watch with my dad before I went to bed or something. I'd be on a 10 at night when I was in junior high or high school or whatever. And it was a really interesting experience because I was familiar with all the characters and their names, but I had to be, like, I would see these completely new faces and be like, oh, that's this guy. That's that guy.
That's this version.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a really interesting film. I'll be honest, when it was over, I wasn't quite sure how I felt about it because it was so different
than the show.
Because the show, everyone's cynical but sort of has a heart of gold.
Yeah, I think the show functions. First of all, the thing with the show is, it lasted 11 years.
Yeah,
and the style of storytelling really shifted from something much more farcical in the beginning to much more serious at the end with occasional banter.
Right.
Yeah, so definitely, if that's your only frame of reference for MASH, the movie would just feel like something from another planet.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for a movie filled with anti-heroes, I guess.
Yes.
Like everyone in the movie's a jerk.
Yeah. Right.
And I wasn't prepared for that. And so I was sort of like, I don't like these guys. and the show is, or the movie is very episodic.
Yes.
There's really no structure to it. It really is just then this sort of incident happens, then this sort of incident happens, and this incident. And it's funny because it took, when it was over, and I love the ending too, it breaks the fourth wall, where you have this like announce what do you call it, speaker, loudspeaker is what I'm trying to say, loudspeaker throughout the film, sort of bridging the stories together. And at the end it's like, you just watched the movie MASH, it starred Donald Sutherland, blah 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 blah, and then it just ends. There's no credits.
Right.
And I was like, what did I just watch? And it was funny because then I went and read all about it, and I just really, as I processed it, came to appreciate it a lot, actually. Even reading some essays where they were saying, war is this thing where you could be like a school teacher, the nicest guy on the planet, but you are put into this situation where if some guy comes charging at you, you put a knife through his heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these doctors who were not on the front lines of battle per se, but they are in that universe, that sick, sad sort of state of war, and they form their own sort of weird id-driven existence. Just
to stay sane.
Yes, just to stay sane, and it's really punctuated, I thought, toward the end where, they're all cheating on their wives and don't even bat an eye and living the way that they're living, but then there's a moment where one of the doctors is told he can go home now, and he looks sad about it.
Right.
Like it's like this thing I got comfortable living in where I didn't think about any consequences and I could behave however I wanted and everyone celebrated it, is now coming to an end. And it's just sort of a different look at existing in war from the hospital point of view, and I really came to appreciate it. I have to admit, I had to process it. Yeah. But I really came to appreciate what it was as a separate thing from what I was familiar with the show. So
and what's really fun, I think, is the fact that the show is also really, really good, but by being very different.
Mm-hmm.
So you have these two alternate tellings of kind of the same story, and it's I do this a lot where it's like a film school assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the Robert Altman way,
Right.
and then here's the CBS primetime way.
Right, right. And it reminded me to bridge it to our last show, not the commentary that we did, the Batman and Robin commentary, but the last show we did about the Mummy, to connect those things. It's interesting also because there's a lot of really, really racist stuff in the movie.
Yeah.
And very, very, like, cruel, misogynistic stuff that's played
big
for
time.
laughs and for
Yeah.
fun. And in some ways, I mean, you can't excuse that behavior, but you do think like, well, it was a different time. Like that's
Yeah.
something people would commonly say as an excuse for certain things that would not fly now. It was a different time, which reminded me of something that I forgot to bring up during the Mummy review that I really wanted to bring up that I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
So do you recall? I don't think this is a spoiler, but in the Mummy, we start the story off with the woman who becomes the Mummy. She is basically supposed to inherit a kingdom,
Yes.
and then her father gives birth to a son. So jilted, she kills her father, kills the mother, and kills the baby.
Yes.
Right? So she's explaining this to Tom Cruise, who she's about to stab so he can become possessed by some demon thing or whatever. She's like, so I killed my father, I killed the mother, and I killed the baby, which we even see, played out. And Tom Cruise gives her this look like, geez. And she goes, well, it was a different time. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
She
but
says
that's
it was
really
a different time, and I was like, what? It was such a modern thing to
Like,
say.
why would she know that that's socially...
Yeah.
you
Like,
know,
why would she even
uncomfortable?
think she had to explain that? Like, that's all she knows.
That's really funny.
I thought that was
I
such a
don't
funny
remember
line.
that, but that's really funny. Wow.
That really stood out to me. I think I even wrote it down and I forgot to bring it up. But anyway.
That phrase is entirely applicable, certainly to the movie MASH, where I agree. I mean, the way they go after Nurse Houlihan, aka Hopkins,
Yes.
it's like it makes you uncomfortable.
Yes.
And they're not harassing her; they're being cruel to her.
Yes.
And then, of course, there's Spear Chucker Jones.
Yes. Which is weird because I read some interview with Robert Altman where he was saying that he hated the book because he thought it was racist because of that character, yet he included that character with
included
that
him.
name in his film, which I thought was weird.
Well, and it's like, well, because the way when he throws the football, it's like he's throwing a spear. Like, yeah, no, that's still bad. Like,
Right.
yeah, they had the character of Spear Chucker on the show for like 2 episodes.
Did they really?
Yeah, he was in the first 2. Because in the swamp, which is the tent that Trapper and Hawkeye have, he was their third roommate,
Oh, interesting. I don't remember that.
and then he just disappeared. Yeah, but it's interesting because on the show, in the film, there's 3 people, right? It's Hawkeye, Trapper, and Duke Forrest, played by Tom Skerritt.
Mm-hmm.
That character, they had actually asked Tom Skerritt to reprise him on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't want to do it, so they just didn't have that character. It just became the Hawkeye and Trapper show.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny because I watched the movie. I'm like a relative latecomer to MASH in that within the past 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Because I never watched it as a kid, and about 06 or so, they came out with the full set on DVD, the Martinis and Medicine collector set.
Right.
And at the time I was like a sucker for DVD collector sets. So I was like, I must own this. I've never seen the show, but I must own this. Right. And it came with the film and the show. So I watched them in that order. I watched the movie and then the show. And that my oldest, he had just been born. So my routine for the first 10 months of his life was I would sit with him on the rocking chair and I'd rock him to sleep and I'd just watch MASH episodes. I went through the whole series.
Oh, wow.
I blazed through it basically. So by the end of the series, I was a weeping mess, just like everybody who was watching the show at the time when it ended.
Right.
It's a terrific show. And the cool thing on the DVDs, this is like MASH Corner now because I'm like, I get to talk about MASH.
You're right.
Podcasting and MASH, 2 great tastes that go great together. On the DVD, you can actually, there's an option to play the episodes without the laugh track.
Oh, that's great.
And that makes all the difference. So because the show was not intended to have a laugh track, but CBS at the time was like, well, how will people know it's a comedy? Mm-hmm. So it's like, remember those old Flintstones episodes with the laugh track?
Yes.
It's like that. And so the DVD people realized that was not the intent of the filmmakers, so you can just watch it without. And so that's my only frame of reference with the show. So it was on Netflix maybe last year, and I started rewatching it, and it has like people laughing.
Man, that's so cool with technology now that they can do that. And I'm sure, obviously, it's decades later, but for the filmmakers,
Yeah,
how nice to have that show exist in a way, closer
like
to what they intended.
your original intent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, I could talk your ear off about MASH, but I'll refrain. I will say this. For those of you listening, I have a feeling that there's a very large contingent of people listening who their only concept of MASH is that thing that would come on before the show you wanted to watch.
Yes.
Right? And I think it's a fantastic show. I mean, I think truly it's one of the best TV shows of all time. Mm-hmm. So you should give it a chance.
Yeah.
But you mentioned our Batman and Robin commentary episode, which just dropped a few days ago. The reaction has been fantastic. I'm really gratified. I mean, people have been excited that we have something to say about this movie, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
People have been listening. So we got a few comments actually about that episode. So I thought I'd share that. So this is from Tim Sika, who is one of my colleagues actually in the San Francisco Film Critics Circle, and he says, "This is awesome, guys. I hated this movie, but now I need to see it again." I don't know that you do, Tim. He says Schumacher's gay, hence the nipples and the six-pack on the suit. And I realized after reading that, yeah, I guess we somehow skated through the entire commentary, no pun intended, without mentioning that, yes, Joel Schumacher is gay.
Right.
And, I mean, I don't know. Does correlation equal causation? Like, I almost feel, is that the reason,
I have no idea.
If you're like, man, this Batman movie seems very gay,
Right.
Is that A, offensive, and B, is that a result of the director being gay? Like, I don't know.
That's funny. It didn't even occur to me, to be honest.
Because that's the stuff I thought of 20 years ago, but Brian, that was a different time.
Yeah.
And Tim continues, he says, and wow, Batman Forever got 3 Oscar nominations: cinematography, sound and best effects, and sound effects editing.
That blows my mind. And I'm not saying it's not worthy.
So that sound, which was like the main reason for your disgust over that film, is what got it nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, the sound, I know.
So figure that one out.
Yeah.
I think Batman Forever. It's funny because the comment we've gotten a lot of, like, has it changed your mind about the movie? And I don't think either of us had our minds changed after rewatching it.
Not on this viewing. No, I think I kind of get into it on there, but I can sort of view it now that it's not the last Batman movie that we've had to contend with, and it's just one of the many that's out there in the universe. I don't mind it as this oddity that's on cable every now and then to continually be amused by.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's no less of a mess today than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's still bizarre.
Life's too short. I mean, I remember I went into college shortly after that movie came out, and we had to write like a persuasive essay for my English class, and I wrote like an op-ed about it's Batman, they ruined Batman and stuff. I'm pretty sure I have that saved somewhere, and I'd kind of, I'm not as passionate anymore.
Right.
About anything really in life, so especially something like that doesn't really hit me anymore. But we do have some headlines, but why don't we take a break for an ad, and then we'll come back.
Sounds good.
Well, we're back, and some sad news, Brian, just to start off our headlines, and this is kind of a bummer for me. John Avildsen passed away.
Yeah. 81.
81 years old. So he had a good run, and for those of you who don't know who that is, he is the director of 2 of my sort of quintessential films, the Rocky and the Karate Kid. Mm-hmm. And if nothing else but just those 2 films, he would be considered, one of the greats. But he actually had a very lengthy career. He did kind of fizzle out a little bit by the end of his career, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But I mean, when I think of the Rocky series, and Brian, you know what a fanatic I am for those films. it's easy to look at Sylvester Stallone as being sort of the architect of all of it, but I think that really does a disservice to the role that John Avildsen, who was nominated for an Oscar for the first Rocky in 1976, the role that he played in shaping that milieu. You know?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, obviously, Rocky is sort of the prestige movie that everyone probably first thinks of with him. But I mean, for me, I saw The Karate Kid first.
Sure.
And Karate Kid is a very memorable experience from my childhood, and I think still holds up.
I think the first Karate Kid, absolutely. I think that he did all 3 Karate Kids.
Oh wow, did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Second one's very different too, to its credit.
The second one holds up really well, and then it's a 50-story drop straight down to the third one.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
But then again, John Avildsen also came back and did Rocky 5.
Oh, interesting.
So it's kind of interesting that he started the franchise and then he came back and sort of did like the worst entries in those films.
Huh. Yeah.
Generally, although I'm not as much of a hater of Rocky 5 as a lot of other people, but I'm also not gonna stand alone and defend it. He also did Lean on Me. Remember Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I mean, he had a career that started in 1969, but his last credit is Inferno, an action movie from 1999 starring Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Huh. Interesting.
So I don't know what that is, you know, and that's actually that starred Pat Morita also.
Oh, did it really? Huh.
Yeah. So, but regardless, you know, whenever we talk about a passing in our headlines, you know, we're seeing more and more kind of some of these formative people from our formative years, you know.
Yeah, we mentioned that a lot. It's really weird when it starts being. It used to be the people that our parents knew and were like, oh, I know who that guy is, but now it's starting to be the people who are formative for our cultural upbringings.
For us personally, yeah. Other news, moving on. So, hey, Star Trek is coming back to TV, and I know how excited you are.
Well, you know, I'm not a huge I didn't grow up with Star Trek. And so I was brought into it. My dad liked it. I've seen a couple episodes, whatnot. But you're the one who really got me going on the movies. Because I was digging, you know, what J.J. Abrams was doing. And then you showed me the original films, and I really enjoyed them. So now I would consider myself a fan. I'm by no means a fanatic. Like, I can't recite any trivia or whatnot. But I like them. And when I heard that this series was happening, I was like, I will watch this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, if I accomplish nothing else in this life, I know that I've done something meaningful, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, it's funny. I think I've mentioned this. You know, I'm going through all the series with my boys, and this past Father's Day, I get a card from my 8-year-old, and he says, "Thank you for letting me play on the iPad and reading on it. I love it when we watch Star Trek." And I said, "Oh,
yeah,
that's kind of nice." So. This new series is called Star Trek Discovery, and I think we talked about this before. It has the unfortunate acronym STD.
Yeah, right.
But this is going to be CBS Interactive, or CBS All Access, or whatever the hell it's called.
Yes. Which is kind of interesting. This could be a huge show. I mean, for like any network, would be happy to have it, but they're putting it on an online subscription-only service.
They're basically they're doing. You know what's funny is they're doing what the franchise owners have done with Star Trek constantly, because they're using Star Trek as a carrot to get sort of the fanboy crowd interested in this brand new venture.
What's a previous example of what you're saying?
So let's see. In the late 70s, before the first Star Trek movie came out, the plan was to do a brand new Star Trek TV series. So less than 10 years after the original series ended, they were going to do a new show called Star Trek Phase 2.
Uh-huh.
And that was going to be the debut offering on a brand new network called PTS, the Paramount Television Service.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And that ended up, there were two things that there were going to be. It was going to be a brand new Star Trek called Phase 2, and then a brand new TV series based on War of the Worlds. That network plan fell apart, so they took whatever plans they had and turned that into Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and away we go. That's how that movie series started.
Okay.
And then in the 80s, when it came time to do Star Trek: The Next Generation, there were a bunch of networks that were vying for it. But what Paramount did was they said, we're going to do something entirely new. We're going to create it original for syndication, which was really the most high profile example of an hour-long series created exclusively for syndication.
Right. Okay.
Right. And they basically, it's kind of interesting. They sold the show by giving stations the first season for free, basically.
Really?
They said, if you are running the original series, we're going to give you a season of Star Trek for free.
Wow.
And the plan there was, well, if the show flops, they'll just fold it in and make it part of the syndication package for the original Star Trek. Mm-hmm. Kind of like how Saved by the Bell, the new class, or the what is that, the college years?
College years?
That's just part of the syndication for the original series.
Right.
Kind of like that. And then, by the way, the syndicated War of the World series came out as... Remember that? The TV show of War of the Worlds?
I don't.
Yeah, that was from Paramount, and that was like the year after Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Interesting. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, and then in 1994, Paramount launched UPN.
I do remember that.
Yeah, and what was their first series? Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah.
And it was used as the keystone for the whole TV network, which has had a long, successful career. Still going. No, it's not. It lasted, like 10 years, I think. So now, I mean, this is history repeating itself, is my point.
Yeah.
So STDs are coming.
Watch out.
Whether you're protected or not, STDs are coming. And this show, I mean, they released the trailer a little while ago. I don't know. Did you see that?
I did.
And I was like, it could be interesting. I guess I don't have an opinion on it, to be honest.
I'd say same. It didn't turn me on or off.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see sort of the Trekkie conversation, because a lot of people are like, because it's a prequel. It's another prequel show. It's set about 10 years before the original series. It's like, how come it doesn't look like the original series does? And it's prequels, and, Trekkies get very angry.
Right.
And I'm, as I mentioned earlier, I don't have time or energy to be passionate about anything. So I don't know. I'm just like, well, if it's good, then it'll be good. If it's not good, then I just won't watch it.
Right.
And I'll move on with my life,
Yeah.
But it's going to launch in two parts. So they're doing like a network model. They're not doing like a Netflix model.
Right.
So they'll have new episodes released weekly starting September 24th, one day before my birthday. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be turning 22.
Oh, congrats.
Well, you don't need to laugh that much at that. But so it'll be released I think it's a 15-episode season, so they're going to do 7 episodes and 8 episodes, something like that. They're doing like the Walking Dead thing. Mm-hmm. And it stars actually one of the actresses from The Walking Dead.
Oh.
Who I guess got out while the getting was good.
Right. Well, it's always interesting. This streaming services still doing different methods of releasing their episodes, right? I mean, right. Hulu does the same thing, I believe. They don't do a dump like Netflix does.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what's more effective, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
But pretty solid cast here. I mean, in addition to Sonequa Martin Green, who plays the lead character, who is not the captain of the ship, which I think is kind of interesting. That's a break from Star Trek tradition. But the show also stars Michelle Yeoh and Jason Isaacs.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're scraping the barrel. I mean, they've got some good actors in there.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that's a conversation that we will come back to at some point in the fall. Also, you posted this. We can look forward to Infinity War, the next Avengers movie, which will feature 30 Avengers characters in one scene.
Yeah, I just sort of, whoa, no pun intended, marveling at I mean, when did Iron Man come out? Was that 10 years ago?
Almost
10 years ago.
2008.
But now we have it established where we could have 30 Marvel characters in one action scene and probably have the majority of people be able to name all of them.
Right.
That's amazing.
But does that make you excited? Because I get kind of like I get kind of exhausted hearing that.
Yes, a little bit. I think the Civil War battle at the airport
Yes.
was just right.
And even in that scene, you could tell who was there and who was pasted in. Like, I'm fairly certain that Scarlett Johansson was nowhere near that set.
Oh, that's interesting. I only saw it in the theater, and I don't recall.
If you were to rewatch it again, watch that fight scene at the airport. It looks like Scarlett Johansson is like a color form. Remember those static clings?
Yes, yeah.
That's what she's like in that movie.
Interesting.
It's very funny. Like, and because what happened is somebody mentioned that to me in a very offhanded way. Like, I don't know if Scarlett Johansson was there. And when you watch it now, you can't help but see that.
Oh, that's so funny.
So I don't know if that's actually true, but I'm fairly certain it is.
On that note, this is unrelated, but I've mentioned this before, but the Mission Impossible 5 commentary track is fascinating.
I keep hearing that. Yeah.
If you're interested in filmmaking,
is it Chris
listen.
McQuarrie and Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Okay.
And Chris McQuarrie talks about how they were just, for a plot that is so complicated and one thing depends on the other, it's amazing how much they were continuing to refine as they were filming. And along that tip, there's a moment at the end where a big twist happens and Alec Baldwin is in the room and there's like a POV shot where the three leads, including Baldwin, look down into camera at a person, and Baldwin wasn't even there.
Wow.
They green screened him in, and you would never know.
That's hilarious. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just fascinating. But it's funny that in this case, though, it stood out so much to you.
It only stood out in the sense that, like, now that you're aware of it.
Yes.
I think as you're watching it, now that we've had this conversation, I'm curious if you would be like extra sort of picky-un about it now.
Yeah, probably.
Probably, yeah. But that's what this is going to be.
Yes.
It's going to be like maybe a handful of people there, and then depending on who had like other commitments, is going to be like photoshopped in.
Right. Look out behind you. Like, getting to do those sorts of things, like
random cuts. You picture, like, remember when they edit together the Radioactive Man movie without Milhouse?
Yeah, right.
You kind of picture that,
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm excited for the movie. So
yeah, same.
That's next May. That's our Marvel movie next May. Mm-hmm. But got to be honest, I'm more excited for Black Panther than I am for the next Avengers.
Yeah, as we've said, I am craving any film in that universe that feels a little different.
That does something just slightly off the beaten path.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that in mind, we're talking about superhero fatigue. You can't tell me there's any superhero fatigue going on based on the box office this summer. Guardians of the Galaxy is a hit. We know that. It was a foreordained hit, and it's living up to the hype. It's going to end up surpassing the first Guardians of the Galaxy, which is becoming a rare thing these days, where the sequel is actually doing better than the first one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially after last summer. Yeah,
last summer was like a slow moving death march.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a recurring story for us over the course of this summer, I have a feeling. But this movie is performing phenomenally.
Mm-hmm.
I think better than you or I would have expected.
I would have expected it to do well.
Sure.
When people were doubting it, I was like, "You guys are crazy."
I was like, it was going to do well. I think we were both like, it's going to do well, but the way in which it's doing well.
I was going to say, I think, and because it's good.
What a concept!
Yeah, I know, and people want to go back, and they don't mind watching it multiple times. I saw it twice. I hadn't planned on it, and I did, and I liked it both times.
So while we have studios and producers being like, this is all Rotten Tomatoes' fault. And those critics, it's like, well, let's try this formula and see how it works.
Yeah.
Start with a good script, cast the right people, and have talented filmmakers making it, and see how that goes.
Yeah.
The one thing I have to say is, if you watch interviews with Patty Jenkins, she loved making this movie. She loves the character. Like the enthusiasm she has for it is just contagious.
Well, that's great. I haven't seen anything with her. I'd be curious to do that.
Well, it's kind of interesting because she was on Conan 2 weeks ago. And, how often do they have directors?
The filmmaker, very rarely.
And that I kind of understand because Conan is TBS, it's Warner Brothers, so obviously, a little bit of that going on. But regardless, if you think about directors who appear on talk shows, we're talking top tier, right? Like Scorsese,
Yeah.
Tarantino.
Right. And
I
who
don't
seem
think-
to be personalities.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think even
personalities.
Spielberg does talk shows,
No.
right? So that's very interesting. The fact that you would get Patty Jenkins out there, and she's so effusive about having made the film. But it's made 275 domestically. It's made 298 worldwide. So it's already almost at 600 worldwide.
Wow.
Right, and this is just a few weeks in. This thing is going to demolish every DCEU movie in terms of box office. So to me, if they learn the right lessons from this, I feel like we'll potentially be in good shape with this universe moving forward.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I feel like there's no shame in that. Like, if you started off in a direction and you find that that's not what audiences are responding to, then you correct.
Yeah, I agree, especially because there were plenty of people who I saw online who were like, just cancel the whole thing and just reboot it. And I'm like, don't. Why? No, fix it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like
Actually, that goes back to what we were saying during Batman and Robin, where we were saying how audiences have gotten used to that concept. It didn't used to be, just reboot it. It used to be, well, we'll course correct this.
Yeah, we play the ball where it lays, and now we got to,
But now with all these Spider-Mans, we're like, just start over.
We've gotten used to quickie divorces, Brian. That's the problem. Nobody wants
Yeah.
to work on their marriage anymore.
It's perfect.
But Wonder Woman's doing really well. We do. I mean, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So for as successful as Wonder Woman has been, we also have yet another flop this summer. There have been a few. King Arthur being one.
I forgot about that already.
Yeah. So has everybody who made King Arthur.
Yeah.
And everybody who watched King Arthur. The Mummy is going to end up losing $95 million
Ouch.
for Universal. To which I say, shocked, I tell you, shocked. I'm shocked that there's gambling in this establishment.
Yeah. I don't even know. I mean, it's like, I don't even know what to add to that.
You feel like you're kicking a sick dog, kind of. At this point.
Yeah, actually, kind of. It was funny. I don't think I mentioned this when we talked about the film, but there's been much made of the fact that Universal was trying to kickstart their own cinematic universe called Dark Universe.
Yes.
Right? And so it was funny. I went and saw this movie several days after the weekend it had opened, and we already knew it was not going to do well, and Dark Universe was like, ugh. And it was funny seeing the Universal logo, and then all of a sudden, triumphantly, Dark Universe appears on the screen, as if, after 3 films, I'm sure they want that to be something you salivate at.
Right.
Yes, another one of these, but it felt very, very different.
Well, and it's kind of like if you look at the Marvel Studios logo right now, for the it's it has all the clips from the movies, and it's very elaborate, right? Mm-hmm. And you realize, we worked up to that because Iron Man, it just had Marvel in front of it.
Right.
And we always come back to this. I mean, just the hubris involved.
Yes, I think that's the lesson from this, is they got way too ahead of themselves, tripped, everyone saw it, and it's just a lesson to just make your Mummy movie. Set the seeds, but don't go out there and be like, here's what we're doing for the next 10 years. Like, You're just sort of asking for it.
Yeah, and I mean, I got to be honest, I feel kind of bad for Alex Kurtzman, who directed this thing, because it kind of feels like he's being left holding the bag of shit. I mean, I think there was an attempt to sort of pin the blame on Tom Cruise, but I don't know. I mean, I think you hire Tom Cruise, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
In addition to the screen persona, the behind-the-scenes persona. That's not news, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the thinking behind a $125/$195 million movie being handed over to somebody who has never directed anything at remotely this scale?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I even said this when we did our review. I didn't feel like the direction was necessarily terrible. I just felt like the story didn't feel important or cohesive, or like it just didn't matter.
Sure.
Like it didn't feel like the thrill ride where we go up and down and we are with this story through its ups and downs all the way through to the end.
So you're saying no matter who directed it, it would have still been...
That I don't know, but I didn't think the direction was necessarily bad.
I didn't think, for me, honestly, the editing and the pacing was just very off.
I agree. I just, in my head, it was more about the storytelling, rather than what was done with the camera or the actors.
Sure.
I don't know.
I mean, it all again. I said this in our Mummy unpacking episodes. I don't want to regurgitate this, but at the very end, when his friend, who's been dead the whole movie, is like, "Hey, Nick, thanks for bringing him back to life. What are we doing now?" Like, wait, what? That's a plot point, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so big flop. I'm sure Universal can sort of massage those tears away because, of course, Fast 8 came out just a few months ago, and that's already, I think it's made $1 billion, right?
It will if it hasn't.
If it hasn't already, and then they got Despicable Me 2 coming out in just a couple days.
Right.
So Universal will be fine. I said this last time though. I take no pleasure in the potential divestment of this dark universe because I love the idea of trying to do something new with these classic monsters. I just think the whole notion of modernizing it as opposed to doing an update of what we already know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the iconography of the monsters is your biggest strength.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and then much like what I just said, like I hope that they can learn from this. And, you know, there's no shame in seeing what the lesson is in this and then making the other ones better.
You know why I think they haven't learned from this? Because the last time they tried to bring back the Universal Monsters was Van Helsing.
Which I never saw.
Yeah, oh, really?
No.
I went and saw that. I saw that with Sean.
I remember that. I feel like...
Yeah, I was in Santa Barbara for a wedding.
Yeah, I feel like I missed that for some reason. I don't remember.
No, you
why.
didn't miss much. I assure you. But yeah, he drove up, and we're like, "Hey, let's get lunch. You want to do something? Sure, let's watch Van Helsing." That was not a useful apportionment of our time in hindsight. But I guess the Dark Universe story is to be continued, at least as far as whether it will be continued.
Yeah.
So another headline here, Brian. Daniel Day-Lewis says he is retiring from acting.
Yeah, this was right before we started recording. I guess he has one final film awaiting release, which is Phantom Thread, coming from Paul Thomas Anderson. And then that's it, which is crazy. I mean, he's easily regarded as one of the best actors of his generation.
Well, and what's even more interesting to me is the announcement from his rep, which is Daniel Day-Lewis will no longer be working as an actor. He's immensely grateful to all of his collaborators and audiences over the years. This is a private decision, and neither he nor his representatives will make any further comment on this subject.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta be honest, I read that, and my first thought was, is he sick?
That's what I wondered, too.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and immediately you're like, I mean, again, we're selfish because we're like, oh my gosh, how many great Daniel Day-Lewis performances will we not get? But again, it's also like, man, I hope he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
he's 60. I mean, he's not that old.
No. And I was going to say almost certainly we will find out why. I mean, in this day and age, we never not
This
find
is
out.
very true, especially when you say we will not make any further comments. You're basically asking journalists to dig, right?
Right, because then someone's either going to come out with an inside source is going to come out with something that's true or not true, and either way, it'll have to be backed up.
It's funny because we're talking about Daniel Day-Lewis right now, and I just happened to watch the trailer for Lincoln again a couple days ago, and that's when that came out, I think you and I both talked about how like we admired it more than we liked it.
Yeah.
And I think that's still the case, but I have to admit my admiration for it has grown over the years, partially because what a revelatory performance Daniel Day-Lewis gave.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny to watch that trailer because to me at least, you see Daniel Day-Lewis in that. And, what we said at the time when we saw the trailer was like, they should just hand him his Oscar. Right? Forget waiting for the movie to come out. Just give him his Oscar.
Yeah.
Right? And he ended up winning. But it's like Wayne's World. Remember in Wayne's World 2 when they have Charlton Heston swap him in?
Yeah, right.
And he's like, thank you. This is what it feels like after you watch the trailer for that. This is kind of amazing. I mean, how many great performances he's given.
Yeah.
So I hope he's okay. I mean, I hope this is just him being like, I did it. I'm good.
Yeah,
that to me is the best
it's his life.
ending. Yeah. And then he, and then maybe he can keep coming out of retirement like Steven Soderbergh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. And that's the thing too, right? If something calls to him, great. And he wants to come back and do it, great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, I'm hearing some music.
Are you now?
I am. So I think that means we have some Star Wars news.
Yeah. This is, we had heard something very similar to this before, where Rian Johnson, picking up with Episode 8 from J.J. Abrams with Episode 7, asking for a couple favors, right, for things that he wanted to do with his story, which with that was he wanted R2-D2 instead of BB-8 to be with Rey at the end of Episode 7, so whatever adventures happen in Episode 8, R2-D2 will be reunited with Luke rather than BB-8. So in this one, similarly, it looks like Colin Trevorrow asked Rian Johnson if he could add something to The Last Jedi so it'll have a payoff in Episode 9. And the difference is we don't know what that thing is. And he's just quoted as saying, he said, could you just shoot this one little extra thing in this place on this day? And he did, which was great. So kind of curious what that is. I mean, when you think about it, if you really want to try to pick it apart, I mean, Episode 9 originally was supposed to feature Carrie Fisher, which they have acknowledged, so you kind of wonder if they had to do a little patchwork on Episode 8 to set up however they want to carry that out with Episode 9. But just interesting seeing these filmmakers all sort of have these little requests with each other and try to make these movies cohesive.
Yeah. I'm wondering if Colin Trevorrow is feeling a little bit of extra pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about this a little bit last time, but holy Moses, the dog pile that has ensued because of this sort of catastrophically bad movie. If you listen to the critics that he made, the Book of Henry.
I have to admit, I said it on the show. When I saw the trailer, I thought, that looks interesting. That looks different. But now I'm very curious.
I kind of want to see it now.
No, I mean, yeah, people have their knives out for this thing, and I
honestly feel like part of it, not having seen the film, I feel like part of it is this like bubbling up resentment at Colin Trevorrow.
Why? Like, where's that coming from?
Because he sort of managed to fly this gilded path, right? Where he was handed Jurassic Park,
right?
And by all accounts, it's really interesting, right? Because I think in the industry, especially right now, there's this convergence of a desire on the part of many to give voices to those who have been traditionally underrepresented. Mm-hmm. Understandably so.
I see.
Right? And this is not Colin Trevorrow's fault, but I think there's a sense of like, oh, look, this is white privilege in action. In that he makes this moderately successful indie movie, and what's his name? Who's the Tomorrowland guy? Brad Bird.
Yeah.
Brad Bird is asked to do Star Wars, but he tells them, you should get this guy Trevorrow because he reminds me of me.
Yeah.
And so that because of that, they got him to do Jurassic Park, and because Frank Marshall had a good time working with him on Jurassic Park, he recommends him to his wife, who's doing Star Wars. I mean, it's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, whether it's his fault or not, he's like the receptacle of like, well, what about the minority voices that aren't being heard because of this, and the female voices, etc., right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And this is all, when you think about it, it's like, it's not his fault.
Right.
But it goes to, this is something you and I talked about off mic last week, where Elizabeth Banks was calling out Steven Spielberg. Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Yeah.
And she was accepting some award.
Right.
I believe, right? And she's a director, right? She did Pitch Perfect 2, which is very successful. And so she's kind of like, Steven Spielberg hasn't made any movies with female leads. Sorry, Steven, that's just how it is. Or she, kind of being snarky a little bit.
Yeah.
People jumped all over her because it's like, well, what about The Color Purple? And what about, the BFG or whatever? And I think, this is something you and I said, where it's like, well, the overall point she's making is not a wrong one, which is that female voices need to be better represented. Mm-hmm. But it's like, of all the people you're going to make a target, it's Steven Spielberg,
Right.
Because what about all the movies he's produced that were, what about Deep Impact, which Mimi Leder directed, and he produced it? I mean, he picked her to do that,
Right.
So it's kind of like just wrong target, right?
Yeah.
So, certainly for me, I mean, as a person of color, I'm cognizant of this stuff, and I'm I agree. We need more representation. But it's just weird how these dynamics are playing out in these different spheres.
Mm-hmm.
Because my gosh, the Book of Henry comes out and it's either, from reading the reviews, it's either not that good or the worst thing to happen to humanity.
Yeah,
that's the spectrum, right?
Extreme reactions to this movie.
Right? And so suddenly it's all these think pieces like, well, why Colin Trevorrow? And I'm like, how would you like to be Colin Trevorrow?
I know.
Right? So that's why, just circling back to what I said earlier, I'm wondering, is he now suddenly feeling a lot more pressure?
I can only imagine. I've noticed that every comment section with a Star Wars piece is calling to switch out the director for Episode 9. So
I saw somebody online who's like a relatively well-known commentator about movie stuff. He in reference to Trevorrow said something to the effect, let me see if I can find what he said, but it was like, does nobody else realize he's this is the quote. It's so obviously fascinating. It's so fascinating to me how Colin Trevorrow is obviously the iceberg heading towards Star Wars' Titanic, and yet I don't know what, if anything, Lucasfilm can do at this point. That's like I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah. Is he writing it as well?
Yes.
I should know that. I believe, because I think the understanding was that Rian Johnson was going to do it.
But he's not. He's not.
Yeah, he's not doing that.
So he is writing it, and he wrote Jurassic World also.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, my point is this: I didn't see anything in Jurassic World that would make me say, "Oh, he's the wrong guy to do Star Wars." I'm like, well, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So the fact that somebody who is saying this with such authority, I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm trying to understand where that's coming from.
Yeah, I think it's funny because bringing in the representation thing, I wasn't even thinking about that. I think for me personally, I remember Safety Not Guaranteed being a crazy, amazing, out of left field premise that I was like, I gotta see that movie, and thinking it almost lived up to it. And then similarly with Jurassic World, I thought it was pretty good. And so I think maybe that's what I'm sort of looking at it as. I don't know that he's had a home run yet. So it's a little makes you a little nervous that he's going to handle the Star Wars movie that's going to bring this trilogy home.
Sure.
Does he have it in him? But, it takes a village, right? I mean, these movies aren't.
He's not going to be allowed to fail.
Yeah.
I mean, there was plenty of shit talking about Rogue One, if you remember.
Right.
Oh, it's a mess, and they're doing all these reshoots and stuff, Yeah. Although, hey, maybe they'll trank him.
I mean, yeah, but that was some sort of personal problems, right?
With Josh Trank being fired off of the Star Wars. Yeah. So, well, it's interesting stuff regardless.
Yeah, and I mean, we have no interest in kicking him. We want these things to work. We want him to work. We want it all to work.
We're hoping it'll be good.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Well, any other Star Wars news?
Yeah, and this doesn't tend to happen often, but a big story is breaking as we're recording that just happens to be Star Wars related.
Whoa, get out of here.
This is from the Hollywood Reporter. Apparently the Star Wars Han Solo film loses directors is the headline. So Phil Lord and Christopher Miller.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they're no longer directing the Han Solo Star Wars spinoff.
Wait, hold on. They've been filming, though, since January.
So that's just it. They're wrapped. So they're in post-production. I'll read the statement first. This is coming from Kathleen Kennedy, a statement they released. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller are talented filmmakers who have assembled an incredible cast and crew, but it's become clear that we had different creative visions on this film, and we've decided to part ways. A new director will be announced soon. So then a statement from Phil Lord and Christopher Miller says, unfortunately, our vision and process weren't aligned with our partners on this project. We normally aren't fans of the phrase creative differences, but for once this cliche is true. We are really proud of the amazing and world-class work of our cast and crew. So yeah, as you said, it started shooting in January, so by now, middle June, it's shot. So it's interesting because similar to Justice League, another director is going to come in with a whole movie already shot, and I assume oversee reshoots, and then have to see this thing through.
That is nuts.
Yeah, and it's the release date hasn't changed, May 25th, 2018.
But okay, so wow, so what could the differences have been if they? I mean, I'm assuming Lucasfilm were seeing the rushes.
That was my very, very first thought was, I mean, these are guys that clearly have a voice, right? I mean, their movies have a tone and sort of a snappy sort of humor to them. And so initially when I saw this thing, I thought, well, maybe the humor, or they're trying to, sort of like with Edgar Wright and Ant-Man. Like maybe, yes, they have this fun voice that everybody enjoys, but it's not fitting into a world that all the films need to feel of a piece. However, yes, I mean, the script was written, it's been shot. So what is making them at this point feel like they can't complete
They
this
wrote the
movie?
script.
Yes.
So, I mean, Lucasfilm has to have been on board through every step of this process, casting. Yeah, everything was done by Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Uh-huh. And again, I mean, I don't remember when they wrapped, but it had to be a couple months ago. So I'm wondering if maybe there are issues and they aren't handling them the way that Lucasfilm would like them to.
That is bananas.
Right? Like maybe their creative problem-solving process. I mean, the word process, I think, came up twice, right? I mean, maybe the process of steering this ship.
So, in other words, you have a situation like with Rogue One where it's in post, and then the producers are like, we need to add this, that, and the other thing. And that was a situation where Gareth Edwards was like, all right, cool.
See, and that's interesting because he still was the director through the whole thing, even though it was Tony Gilroy, right?
Yes.
Yes, him and his brother, it seems, came in and heavily, creatively overhauled that movie to finish. So, but Gareth Edwards got to remain the director of that film. So it makes you wonder if it's a similar situation here, but it's enough for them to say that they are no longer the directors.
Wow. I mean,
and when you do
crazy.
that, how do you even credit the movie, right? I mean, they shot. I mean, how much more are they going to have to shoot for it to no longer be a Lord and Miller movie?
it's like a DGA nightmare scenario, basically.
Yeah. So,
but beyond even that, I mean, how does this not pee in the pool as far as the perception of the movie?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still sort of thinking about it.
Because this movie has been a question mark from the beginning, with a lot of people being like, how can you possibly think a young Han Solo movie is a good idea?
Mm-hmm.
And then something like this happens. How does the eventual movie not get tagged as damaged goods no matter what?
I don't know. Like I said, I mean, they feel like a different thing than the Star Wars films have felt so far. So it makes me wonder if that suddenly made them uncomfortable.
Wow. This is talk about a developing story.
Yeah. I you really wonder if you're. I would love to hear more. And much like Edgar Wright's Ant-Man, we were saying, well, we enjoyed the Ant-Man that we got, but what did that movie look like? Edgar Wright's. Like, I'm very curious. The movie we're never going to see from Lord and Miller. And
I mean, I have to wonder what director would want to come into this position.
That's what I've been texting with some friends, and exactly what I was thinking. I mean, you get to come on as a director of a Star Wars film, but at this point, right,
yeah,
where it already
you're like a scab.
Exists. Yeah, a scab, and also you really didn't get to do your thing. You're sort of patching up someone else's
because
thing.
It's pretty thankless, you know?
Yes.
Wow, okay. Well, this will for sure be a story that we follow in the weeks ahead.
Yeah.
Because I have to imagine if this is where we're at right now with the story just having broken literally as we're recording, people will be talking.
You have to imagine.
Yeah, and I'm fairly certain that by the next time we record, we'll know who the hapless so-and-so is who gets to replace these guys.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they must have that person lined up already, so.
Well, okay. I guess let's take another break, and then we'll talk Transformers: The Last Night.
Let's do it.
Okay, well, as we are talking, people are lining up. People are already lining up to watch the new Transformers movie. Mm-hmm. this is. It just so happens that you and I both saw a pre-release screening, which doesn't happen that often.
Yeah. Actually, I have to tell a quick little anecdote about this that I thought was kind of funny. So I was at work talking with my good pal Michael Olson, and I said, he goes, "Oh, this was on Friday," and he goes, "What are you doing over the weekend?" I go, "Well, on Monday I'm going to a press screening of Transformers 5," and he goes, "Oh, how do you do that?" I go, "Well, I have a friend. He works, tied with marketing people, and he gets invited to these things sometimes." And he goes, No. Not how do you go to press screenings. How do you sit through another Transformers movie?"
And nobody knows.
Yeah, I still can't answer that.
Now, it's worth pointing out here that the first Transformers movie came out 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago.
That's crazy.
It kind of is.
I thought about that, yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I legitimately enjoyed that movie when I first saw it.
Yeah, I did too.
I have not revisited since at all the whole way through.
I don't know that I could sit through it again intentionally. And I don't even mean that as a slam. I just feel like I saw it and I enjoyed what it was and I moved on. But, yeah, I mean, it started more closely tied with Steven Spielberg, I think, as well, right? Who is an executive producer on these. And it was sort of pitched as a boy and his robot.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. I mean, Shia LaBeouf encounters these Transformers and has to contend with them in his everyday life, hide them from his parents. That element is kind of fun. And then the end of the world scenario is brought to this boy's world. Right? And that's fun, kind of relatable, almost Amblin-esque, right?
Yeah, oh, very much so, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big part of the appeal of that first film, which certainly was excessive in terms of spectacle, but it didn't sort of cross over, that magic barrier into just Michael Bay excess. Mm-hmm. It was Michael Bay coming off of his first flop, which was The Island. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And so I felt like he was kind of shackled a little bit.
Interesting.
And then the movie comes out and it does gangbusters. So then they're like, "Here you go, boy," and they let go of the chain.
Yeah.
And that's the second Transformers in 2009, and the third Transformers in 2011, and the fourth one, which we talked about 3 years ago, and now this latest one, Transformers: The Last Knight, which honestly, I think I said this to you before. I was like, if you were to just randomly cut together clips from all of them and just put them together, you wouldn't know which one came from which movie.
This is true.
Now I know you did not grow up with Transformers the same way I did.
No, like I had a couple of the toys, but I wasn't invested in the show.
You weren't ensconced in sort of their universe.
No.
So you and I are polar opposites in that sense, in that I lived and breathed Transformers as a kid. I loved the cartoon. I loved the mythology. I still have a soft spot for it. These movies have done everything as possible to just make me actively despise the very concept of Transformers. I still love the cartoon show, but oh my gosh, this new movie, which I went into with, I was going to say with reasonable expectations. I don't know what I went in expecting, to be honest. I got what I was expecting. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I went in, and it was easy for me to go back to how do I sit through a fifth Transformers movie for free. Like I'm not bragging about it. I just was fortunate enough to have that opportunity, and that is why that's how I did it.
Because otherwise, you were staring down the barrel of paying $20 to watch this. Because either way, you have to see it for this show.
Yeah, and so it was more like, okay, I have this opportunity, and I hope it's fun. Like I never go into a movie wanting it to be bad. Never. I always want to be surprised, especially by something that I think I'm not going to like.
Yeah.
Right. And if I had paid $20 for this movie, I would have been like, ugh, why didn't I just, like you say, watch, the other four or whatever.
Just stay home.
Yeah. It's such a weird movie. I even thought that. I'm like, what do you even say about this? Like, you don't want to like sort of repeat yourself. So I really did try to write down thoughts that I had about this movie. Things I thought worked, things I thought were weird, things that I thought,
yeah.
So for starters, what's with the bubble font letters of this one? Did you notice that?
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Very weird, because at these press screenings, a lot of times they want you to Instagram that you're there. So they put up this sort of slideshow thing at the front with the title on it. And I noticed, and I went back and looked, and all of the other Transformers titles look sort of normal. But this one, they have the letters overlapping each other a little bit, almost like bubble letters. And let's just start there. That's all. I just thought that was weird.
Well, I mean, I think that tells you something. Where in the absence of anything else, that's what you start fixating on.
Well, here's another thing. This is a Michael Bayism, but about 20 minutes into the
by the way, this movie should be called Transformers Michael Bayism.
Yes. It's. I was like thinking in my head, my internal monologue, in a world where it's always sunset. The sun is always setting in every single shot. And I started becoming fascinated by it, thinking, what did they do during the day? Right? I mean, obviously some of it's color timing, but there was a lot. The sun was always just about to go down behind Wahlberg.
They were making the most of Magic Hour.
Yes. And also, this is easily the most I've ever heard the word bitch in a film aimed at children.
Oh my gosh, seriously. My kids are like, Bob, are we going to go see Transformers? And I'm like, no, we're not.
Yeah. It's one of those things where cursing, you sort of, I mean, we grew up with cursing in movies. I don't think about it too much, like the Goonies and stuff. But I started noticing it about halfway through. And the reason I noticed it was because the humor of this movie is so juvenile. Like, this movie is aimed at children.
But you know what's funny is that it's humor, because a couple of years ago we talked about Pain and Gain, remember?
Yeah.
And which is a Michael.
Well, okay, I see where you're going now.
It's the same kind of humor.
Yes.
It's not even juvenile. It's this very peculiar Michael Bay humor. Like, he clearly thinks this is funny.
Yes.
And that's what my mind was drawn to, because he did Pain and Gain as his non-Transformers One for Me movie. Mm-hmm. But it might as well not have been.
Yes. Yeah. And then we can start at the very beginning there. This movie opens in medieval times, and you have Merlin talking like, hey, dude, what's up?
Yeah.
Which is so weird, right?
Well, and so Merlin is played by Stanley Tucci.
Oh, I did not even notice.
Are you serious?
No, I didn't even notice.
So right away, I'm like, because Stanley Tucci was like the Steve Jobs character in the previous one.
Yeah. I can't believe I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so that's really funny, because that was my first thought. I was like, was it just like Michael Bay was like, hey, come back and do this thing too?
Yeah, probably.
Because it has no, it's not like he's playing his ancestor. It's not like that other character comes back in this one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
That was very odd. I mean, I have so many questions about this film. Okay, so real briefly, synopsis. We start. I don't even know how you can synopsize this movie, but we started in medieval times. Uh-huh. It's King Arthur. Merlin is not really a magician. He actually made a deal with ancient Transformers to give him advanced super science, which looks like magic.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting.
That's an interesting premise, sure. And then we skip ahead to the here and now, where Transformers are being hunted by the government. We're not really sure why. Because
they're illegal, yeah.
I thought that was all taken care of with the last movie, but I guess not. And we're following. Who's our main character, Brian?
Oh, Mark Wahlberg plays our hero, Cade Yeager.
Cade Yeager. Which is such like a movie character name, right?
Yeah.
So he was our hero last time, and he's helping Transformers. He's like rescuing them, right, and taking them to like a hidden area,
the junkyard where he hangs out, and he is off the grid.
He's living off the grid, exactly. Yeah. And then what happens? I saw this movie less than 24 hours ago, but it is like vapor in my brain.
Well, he is eventually pinpointed, and he has to leave. And there's a girl who's been hiding out because her family was killed in melee in previous films, and she's 14 and happens to be an expert mechanic.
Of course. Mm-hmm. And she has this hair in her face.
I saw you wrote that.
Every single shot, she has hair dangling off of her head in her face. Not like a big tuft, like one strand, two strand, three strand. I wanted to reach over onto the screen and just like move it off of her face. Because to this again, why did Michael Bay? Why was that necessary? he clearly framed the shot with this young girl in the frame, and he's like, "Do this with your hair." Why?
Should I see, this is funny. I didn't really think about it, but I know what you're talking about. I can picture it in my mind right now. And it's funny because I had this weird nitpick that no one else is probably going to think about. Should I just get into that right now?
Yes, go ahead.
So there's a character played by Megan Fox, but not Megan Fox.
Dude, you know what's funny? So I see her. As soon as I see her, I'm like, so Michael Bay really has a type.
Yes. I mean, if you
know who she is, by the way, Brian? She's, you're talking about the love interest, right?
Yes.
She
Vivian
is...
Wembley? Kate Yeager's potential new girlfriend, Vivian Wembley. Anyway, got it.
She's Peter Quill's mother in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I saw that. Yeah, I looked her up later.
Yeah.
Yes, which I don't even remember what she looked like in that film, but in this, she is Megan Fox with a British accent.
She's British Megan Fox.
Yes. I mean, to a frightening degree.
Yeah,
yeah. Clearly, it did not work out with Megan Fox and Michael Bay, so he's like, take two with the exact same. Yeah, let's try this again. But anyway, so later in the film, I never pay attention to this stuff, by the way. So, like, continuity errors, whatever. Unless it's glaring, I'm able to gloss over those things.
Sure.
They don't stick out to me like they do some other people. But anyway, so she is in a scene wearing this sort of sexy dress, and it's commented on, right?
Yes.
She's wearing a classy dress.
You're wearing a stripper dress, huh?
Yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, your stripper dress. I was like, that's not what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But whatever.
That says more about you.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, she then leaves there wearing something else, even though they're in a hurry. And all of a sudden they're on a submarine, and she's wearing this like white sport coat and jeans. And I was like, the only reason I even noticed was because I thought, why would you wear a sport coat when you're on the run in a submarine? It totally stood out to me, and I thought, that's weird. And then later in the submarine, and then I was like, when did she change? When did she have time to change? Then they're in the submarine, and they have a sort of date moment.
Yes.
And then she's wearing something else. She's wearing like khakis, and now I can't stop paying attention. I'm like
to what she's wearing,
waiting for her to keep changing. And she's wearing these sort of cargo khaki things and this like sort of button-up white shirt that's completely different. And I was like, where did that come from? And then when they get out of the submarine, she's wearing a green sweater. And I was like, what is happening?
Where did all these clothes come from?
Yeah. And then finally in the last scene, she's wearing some sort of like Air Force jumpsuit, which makes a little more sense. But I was like...
Well, you know what it is, Brian? She's a Transformer.
Yeah, that would have been a good reveal. But like you, that was something that once I noticed it, I could not stop paying attention to it.
There's a scene earlier in the film before they go to the submarine where I'm exhausted, Brian.
I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah. So there, because she's like the fated last receptacle of Merlin's spear or Merlin's staff because of reasons.
Because she's part of the Witwicky family, it's all geniuses throughout history are all related, including Shia LaBeouf and her now,
who is Sam Witwicky.
Yes, who are descendants of Merlin.
Yes. So
I guess are we spoiling this? I guess we're getting to spoilers here.
So. Do we even want to do the spoiler wall at this point? I mean,
let's do it because let's do it. But we're in. We're in.
We're in it, baby.
Spoilers.
So so she has to like find out where the spear is or some such thing, right?
Yes.
And so they go to her mom's house.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and she brings Mark Wahlberg with her, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And
that's like literally what he's doing,
right? And then she's like, "We're going to go upstairs now, and we're going to look for this thing." And so they go upstairs, and they're like in the office, and they're like throwing books on the ground, right?
Yes, desperately looking for this spear.
They're looking for the location of the spear, so they're like dropping books on the ground. They're like, "No, not that." Hand it, and they're like grunting as things are going.
Yeah, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, exactly.
For no reason.
Mom and her friends are downstairs. They're having they're playing poker. And they're like, "Oh, my daughter's upstairs screwing this guy she just brought home." Tee hee hee hee. Let's go gape. Let's watch. And I'm like, what an odd reaction.
Yeah. And I mean that joke has been played to death.
Right.
Right. But I mean it is not out of place in this movie. And similarly, there's a scene. Okay, as long as we're doing that thing, I wrote this down also. So there's the part where she is the descendant of Merlin, and she's the only person who can handle this spear. Then Mark Wahlberg has come into contact with this ancient device that means that he is now
The last night.
the last knight, right? So they're like, well, the characteristics of a knight are pure of heart, blah blah blah, and chaste,
Yeah.
which means no sex.
That
And
means
they're-
you're a virgin.
yeah, yeah. And so then like it's Anthony Hopkins and Megan Fox 2.0, and they're both like, well, and he's like, well, I guess it has been a while, and they're like, well, how long? And Anthony Hopkins is like, not getting any, like, and she all of a sudden has this weird non-characteristic interest in it, and it's just so juvenile, and it just completely stood out. And it's just funny seeing Anthony Hopkins being like, too bad you don't get laid, like what is going on?
You're barely exaggerating.
No, I mean his reactions are so. Anthony Hopkins is a really interesting figure in this movie. I mean, wouldn't you agree? I mean, there's a moment too where he gets to be very Hopkins-esque and deliver ridiculous amounts of exposition in a way that you can't help but enjoy listening to because his voice is like so wonderful.
Because he's Anthony effing Hopkins.
Yes, and it's great. I'm saying not what he's saying is great, but how he does it is great. But then he also gets to, because he's in a Michael Bay movie, push an overweight person out of the way and say, "Move it, fat ass." Right. I was like, is he enjoying this, or is this? I wondered, and as long as we're on that, he has a sort of butler-esque robot.
Okay, thank you. I was wondering when we bring that whole scenario up.
They even call him C-3PO at one point because he looks a little bit like C-3PO. So going along with what I said earlier, and he's played by Carson, I think his name was, the head butler from Downton Abbey. So if you ever want to hear Carson from Downton Abbey sing "Move, Bitch," here's your opportunity.
You're welcome.
Because he's weaving through traffic, for some reason rapping to the song "Move, Bitch." Because kids movie.
It's so. I'm like, what is he? Is he from the Transformer planet? Did this Witwicky family create him? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
Because the Transformers are all giants. He's shorter than a person.
Yes, you're right.
So what the hell is he?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yes. By the way, Brian,
yeah.
you know who we haven't talked about in this movie about Transformers? Transformers.
Right.
Because the movie barely cares about there being Transformers in it.
No, I will say to their credit, even though it's weird, it is a lot easier to distinguish the Transformers in this movie than it has been in previous movies.
I'll give you the good guys. The villains, it's just nonsense.
That touche, because there's the John Goodman character, and he looks sort of like
He looks like John Goodman.
Yeah, he looks like John Goodman, like a Paul Bunyan sort of with a beard, sort of thing.
Why do Transformers have beards, Brian?
I don't know.
Explain this to me.
But that was one of my complaints. I know we are going all over the place, but that's kind of what it feels like watching this movie.
We're replicating the experience.
Honestly, I really mean that, because I was thinking when it started, I really want Michael Bay to make another non-Transformers movie again. And I know Pain and Gain should be my lesson, but I love The Rock.
13 hours.
I'm sorry?
13 hours also he did.
Oh, that's right. And I want to see him make more action films that are non-Transformers related. And then as I was watching, because I'm like, he's a good filmmaker. I mean, obviously he has his flaws with this and that, whatever, but he makes things on a grand scale, unlike a lot of other people are unable to do. And the same goes for this movie. I mean, there is epic, grand destruction that is a thrill to watch in this movie. I mean, you can't say that it isn't, right?
I mean, he knows how to set up a shot for an action scene.
Yes. But the thing that sort of drove me nuts was the whiplash of the editing. And I'm not talking about even the action, like jerky action. I'm just saying the pace of the story feels like they had a 4-hour movie that they had to fit into 2.5 hours. And so it doesn't even matter if one thing leads to the next. Characters will say things completely out of turn that makes no sense. There's one part where Anthony Hopkins is in England or wherever he is doing something. Then all of a sudden they're in like the Sahara, and then Anthony Hopkins is there for one shot, not even in an establishing shot, just for one shot, a close up of him going, yes. And I was like, when did he get there? and I sort of was like, man, this movie didn't need to be as long as it was, but it felt like it was by the skin of its teeth. It even existed at this length, but it's because, and this is where
it's 2.5 hours, by the way.
2.5 hours. But the reason is because we go to the junkyard and we see that Mark Wahlberg is with all these characters, like the John Goodman character, and they just talk for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But about nothing.
There's no economy of storytelling.
No. I mean, it's just John Goodman talking about, well, blah, 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 blah. Like, and not even story related, just sort of jokes and whatnot. And it's just completely unnecessary and not particularly funny. And then you just get this breakneck story editing that it just feels like the wrong decisions, choices were made in trying
and I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, again, we're like skirting around the Transformers part of this plot.
Yeah.
Which is that Optimus Prime comes back to Earth having been brainwashed by Quintessa, who is apparently the creator of the Transformers, I think. I don't know, because the movie does not clarify at all.
Right.
That's
what I thought, yeah.
I think, right? And the deal is, I mean, it's weird, right? Because the film takes these parts of pre-existing Transformers mythology and like names and things like that, and it just kind of twists them around and does something with them so you don't understand. So the whole thing is that Earth is, I guess, also a Transformer called Unicron.
Right.
Now, if you're familiar with the 1986 Transformers animated movie, Unicron is the name of the planet, the evil planet that they fight. He's the villain of the movie.
Right.
So it's like, oh, it's Unicron, but it's this. So now maybe this is my own damn fault for being familiar with this stuff. Right?
Right.
I'm trying to understand all of this. And the movie, by the way, doesn't address it. It doesn't wrap up the story.
No. Well, there's a teaser.
Which is infuriating. Right? But so Prime comes back and he like betrays them, but then Bumblebee talks for the first time. Because he hasn't talked every one of these movies, if you remember. He talks through the radio.
Right.
So he's about to kill Optimus Prime, and then suddenly Bumblebee talks. You're like, oh my god, Bumblebee talked. And then he goes back to not talking.
Yes, it makes absolutely no sense.
Now, but earlier in the film, he rips out his like little talking doodad. So he should not be able to talk, period.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense, Brian.
I know, but the audience I was in applauded when Bumblebee spoke.
Well, we'll talk about the audiences we saw it with in just a little bit.
Okay.
Stuff like this doesn't make any sense. By the way, the villain in this movie is Megatron, who I'm fairly certain was dead 2 movies ago.
Right.
I have not revisited them, but my recollection is Megatron dies in the 3rd one, and then if you remember in the 4th one, they try to create a new Optimus Prime, but he's Galvatron. And he has Megatron's personality. Do you remember that at all?
No, I honestly don't. And I don't.
So we start... I don't either. I've only seen him the one time. But we start this movie, and it's like, oh, look, it's Megatron. And I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. And Megatron goes to the government. He's like, hey, I want you to negotiate to release my guys. And the government's like, okay, you can have this one, but not this one. And you can have this guy, but not this guy. I'm like, really? This is a thing that they... What? You know...
Yeah.
These are genocidal super aliens.
I just realized what it's like watching this movie. And again, this is coming from someone that wanted, God help me, the 5th one in. I want to like these movies every time I do. But it feels like, have you ever watched a movie on your DVD player and hit fast forward once where you can still hear the dialogue, but it's moving at a little bit of a skip? That's what it feels like watching these movies, because they're trying to link all these things together, but they feel so disparate. And like, for example, I was looking again at my notes. The Mark Wahlberg thing, when he's first introduced to Megan Fox 2.0, they immediately start bickering. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, because she's going to be a love interest, so they have to have some sort of thing,
of course,
to make their have some sort of relationship. But just as they go through whatever they're going through, and then all of a sudden in the midst of peril, they have a date at the bottom of the sea in a submarine and whatever. It just feels so inorganic, the flow of it. And so that's when people, I'm sorry to skip ahead to this if you didn't want to, but when people were applauding at my screening, I didn't get that coherence. No. So I wasn't sensing the satisfaction of all the pieces adding up to something at the end because it just felt so incoherent to me.
People were straight up cheering at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
And I never felt such white hot rage at anybody in my life as I did at the end of this movie at the people in the audience.
See, but we haven't mentioned this yet, but with Optimus Prime going dark, it's very similar to the film Fast 8.
That's right.
Which Dom goes dark, and then of course it's not.
And it's the same thing, by the way. Remember what I said with that, where I'm like, why are they making that the selling point? We know he's not going to go. His heel turn's not going to be permanent. Same thing with Optimus Prime, right?
Yeah.
But the whole marketing campaign's like, he's evil now.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Yeah, but even with Fast 8, even though we knew he wasn't going to remain evil or it was some sort of ruse or whatever, you know the guy, right? And well, why is he doing this? And there must be a reason. And he met with Charlize Theron and she showed him something on a phone, but it didn't make... Like, there's a flow of story that you can grab onto to go on that ride with that film. I just feel like with this movie, there's just nothing you can hang on to for a flow of story, and that's why these movies ultimately don't work for me, because it's not the action. The action's fine, right? I mean, I thought it was, the action was actually much more coherent than previous films had been. And there's a part where Bumblebee comes apart, right? And then he's fighting these people, anti-transformer things, government things, I can't remember what they're called, and he's in pieces. TRF. Yes. And he's coming back together, like piecing back together while he fights these guys. And I was like, that's pretty cool. It looks pretty good.
But here's my problem with that. I agree that as a visual, it's cool. The problem is that the movies are completely inconsistent as far as what these Transformers can endure.
That is a good point. I was wondering that myself.
Right,
throughout the film.
Like you need to be consistent with what constitutes mortality for a Transformer. Right, and that's a big problem. And we can go from movie 1 to movie 5 and say, well, it's just all over the place. Right, and that's, I keep coming back. Here's what it comes down to for me. I had a thought while watching the film that I never thought I would have, which is, why can't this be more like the Power Rangers movie?
What do you mean?
And what I mean by that is, what's clear as day is that Michael Bay has spent 10 years putting his blood, sweat, tears, and oxygen into something he just fundamentally could not give two shits about. I just don't think he cares about what this franchise means to the people who lived it. And I'm not trying to come off like an aggrieved fanboy, but I enjoyed the Power Rangers movie, not because I grew up in it, but because I could tell the love of the person making it. Yes. Yeah. Right? And so that, to me, it's like, imagine if you had somebody approaching this from that perspective. That's what I mean.
I get that. And it's funny because
even Ninja Turtles last year.
Yes. Yes, you know? Just with Power Rangers, I am not a Power Rangers fan. I didn't grow up with it, and I enjoyed the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, because you could tell that it was made by somebody who clearly grew up with it.
Yes.
And so he wanted to make the movie he saw in his mind as a kid. Mm-hmm. And that's what we need here, because this is it's Michael Bay. I mean, I believe this. I think he feels trapped by this franchise.
How so?
I think he's making so much money off these movies that he almost doesn't want to leave, even though he really wants to leave.
That is interesting. I when we were saying that this series is a decade old now, I can't believe 5 movies in a decade. That's
by the
amazing.
same guy. Mm-hmm. That's damn near unheard of.
Yeah.
So you have to give it up to him for dedication, I guess. But I don't think he has any real interest in it. And I think that shows, because it's just, these films are so sloppy. There's no effort to have a sense of flow and a growing mythology from one film to the next. Suddenly in this one, oh, by the way, Transformers have been around since medieval times.
And we're around fighting the Nazis.
Yeah, like what? You know, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like if you have Bumblebee fighting the Nazis in World War II, then everything that happened in the first one doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and so, and by the way, why is Buster Bluth in this movie?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like
I don't know.
He plays like this scientist who, not even a scientist. I don't know what he is. He's like monitoring extraterrestrial activity or something. And he sees that the planet Cybertron is like encroaching towards Earth, right? So normally that's like a little cameo and you move on. But no, he becomes like a character through the rest of the movie where he's like, no, you can't listen to, you know, the Transformers. You have to use physics and science.
Right.
And he's proven wrong. So I'm like, yeah, how dare you have a character use science, you know?
I know, it was very odd.
The message is basically, yeah, F science.
I know.
And then John Turturro is in the movie. Why is he in the movie?
He did get, I think I laughed genuinely once.
Sure.
And it was at him, at the payphone, when he finally gets to talk to Anthony Hopkins. I don't even remember what he says anymore, but I remember
why is he in the movie?
Oh, I have no idea.
This is a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't think there's anything as egregious in this like the laminated get out of jail for statutory rape card in the previous one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a high bar. But this one, 2.5 hours. It could have easily been, 45 minutes shorter.
Easily.
And this is, Brian, this is what I've realized about watching Transformers movies. You go through 3 phases, okay? First phase is about an hour of just trying to figure out what the hell's going on in this one.
Mm-hmm.
What is the MacGuffin? What are they trying to do? What are the rules? That's about an hour. And then the second hour is, you know what? I don't even care about what's going on in here. And it's the slow dawning realization of that. And then the last 45 minutes to an hour is just, is it over yet now?
Yeah. Yeah, I did not know it was 2.5 hours. And there was a point where I thought it was wrapping up, and then it's like, now gear up for the battle of our lives.
Well, somebody asked me, they're like, does it have multiple false endings? And I said, no, it just has one unending ending. You know, I am very curious to see a Transformers movie from another filmmaker. Yeah, me too.
Because I feel like key to a Transformers movie is you have to care about at least one of the robots, and you have to care about at least one of the humans.
How do you make Optimus Prime boring? Because they've done it.
Because he feels like one big walking motivational speech when you need to dole him out.
How many times in this one film does he say, I am Optimus Prime? I know. Yeah. By the 18th time, I was like, we know, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So the movie ends. This is like the first one, really, to end with a teaser for the next one.
Yes, which is the thing to do these days, it seems.
Yeah. Now, to their credit, they didn't make us wait through the end credits. They did it during the post credits.
Yes, it never, if I remember right, never really fades to black either. It just sort of leads up to it. Yeah.
And so thank goodness for small favors. But I have to imagine, I was fairly certain this one would underperform, but based on the crowd reaction, I don't know anything. So I have no frame of reference for how this thing is going to do.
Yeah. I keep thinking of all these different analogies for what this movie feels like. And it also feels like someone who saw an exciting movie and is trying to recite it back to you and is talking too fast and forgetting they're leaving parts out. That's what it feels like watching this movie.
Well, I think that's a perfect summation of Transformers: The Last Night.
Yeah.
Now, there is a spin-off movie, I believe it's scheduled for next year, centered on Bumblebee.
Which will take place in the 80s and has been said that it'll be the Iron Giant, is what they're saying. We're making the Iron Giant with a Transformer.
Well, a few episodes ago, you and I were both very confident that this was a bad idea. But based on people applauding when Bumblebee spoke for the first time, hey, maybe Paramount's onto something.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I'm not going to look down on anyone for enjoying this movie. I that's great.
Honestly, I am
wish
going to look
could.
down on anybody who enjoys this movie. You might be a bad person. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
I don't know. I wouldn't even mind the bad joke. I do mind the bad jokes, but
Yes.
I wish they were better. I just wish it was cohesive. I wish it was coherent, because I feel like the scale is great, and having Anthony Hopkins in this silly robot movie is a fun idea, and Mark Wahlberg is like giving it his all. Right? He's Wahlberging it up.
And by the way, if there's anyone who's more sick of the Transformers franchise, I think it's Mark Wahlberg.
Because he's already out.
He's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's this is one of those things where you wonder what the actors are thinking when
Right.
they're delivering, like when you're talking to nothing, and they have to put that in. And,
He-
you know, like
yeah.
Mark Wahlberg's, come on, Optimus, we need you. You know, you're the best. You know, and I'm wondering if in his mind he's just slowly he feels himself dying.
I thought that during two moments. That's funny. I thought that at the introduction at the junkyard when he's following that T-Rex.
Yes,
And the whole humor of it is, it's like he's talking to a little dog. He's just talking to an
it's-
enormous T-Rex made
it's
of
Grimlock, the Tyrannosaurus. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just like, oh, come on, you got to put that thing down. What's the matter with you? Bad boy, you know, kind of a thing. But it goes on for a really long time. And I was wondering what he was feeling when he was doing that. And the part that you just said, when he's giving the speech to Optimus Prime, or like, this isn't you, Optimus. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, get it together. We need you, man. We need you more than ever. You know, and I was thinking, what was that like on the day?
Right. You know, so I don't know. It's been 5 of these, and I'm tired, man. I'm tired. I want to get on with my life.
Yeah.
But, you know, we have a job to do on this show, so we will probably be talking about the next one whenever it comes out.
Yeah. And this is a complete non sequitur now, but I have to bring this up because this is the place to do it. The girl, and I'm sorry I don't know her name, the 14-year-old.
Yes.
She has this little sidekick character named Twitch, I want to say, or
Squeaks.
Squeaks. Sorry, didn't he look exactly like the robot from the Black Hole?
He did. Vincent.
Bob, or
Oh,
Vincent?
Bob. Oh, he
Vincent.
looked, yeah, Bob. That's right.
Or is it Bob? Bob. Yes.
Bob is the busted up one, so yeah.
Yes. I immediately I was like, that's that robot from the Black Hole.
See, okay, so that character, this is a good example. Not the little girl, Isabella.
Yes.
She's like, my name's Isabella with a Z. And that's just one of those movie things that pisses me off. Like, why would you say that?
Right.
I don't know. That's the thing, right? This movie wasn't written so much as it was manufactured.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm certain it was a bunch of pictures on a wall, and then someone was like, all right, make a script out of this.
And Akiva Goldsman. So we've spent 2 episodes now really tossing tomatoes at Akiva Goldsman. Because he
Batman
also
and Robin.
wrote Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
He came up with a story for this. Akiva, you got to give back your Oscar.
See, that's it too. This was the first movie as a result of that writer's room, right, over
Yeah.
at Paramount for the Transformers franchise. So,
Well, we know what was happening in that writer's room. They were pounding down 40s and getting baked.
I had that in mind as I was watching this, thinking like, well, what were they thinking? And I assume it's, what if Transformers were there in medieval times, and what if that legend was true, and then there
But
could be.
why are they there in medieval times? Why?
I'm not even gonna.
Why are they helping King Arthur? Why?
You know,
Who is King Arthur fighting? Sorry, bro.
that's all I'm gonna say is not a terrible idea. Like, if you want to try something different, I get that was like, we're going to, instead of just having robots attack another city, we're going to try to come up with some interesting new entry point into this.
Brian, think about it. You're not wrong, I agree with you, but it's like, if what you're doing is deconstructing the Arthur myth and saying it wasn't magic, it was this or whatever, okay, then why Arthur? Like, isn't that something interesting? What was it about him that made the Transformers say, we're going to help this human as opposed to that human?
That's my point. I think it's not a bad idea, but they didn't execute it well.
No.
Right? Like, they just came up with the concept, and then it was just it may as well have been Transformers 4 again.
Yes.
And that's why these movies are disappointing. I feel like each one is an opportunity, and for some reason, like you say, it could be a lack of interest on Bay's behalf. They don't turn into the coherent stories they could be.
I'm telling you, have a Transformers fan make these films.
I hope so. I hope for 6, or I guess the Bumblebee movie could be the whatever. But I'm dying to see a Transformers movie from another filmmaker.
Well, and I think that's a good place to leave this conversation.
Yeah.
So those are our thoughts on Transformers: The Last Knight, unfiltered.
Yeah.
The movie is out right now, so as we speak, as we record this, we're about half an hour away from the embargo lifting. So by the time you hear this, it'll be right as the embargo has lifted. But we'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's going to be our next big. So we're going to take a little bit of a breather, but we'll be back, and then of course War for the Planet of the Apes coming up after that. We got lots of fun summer movies to talk through yet.
Mm-hmm. Hearing great things about Planet of the Apes. That's getting me really excited.
Chris Bumbray of Joe Blow, he went to the the London premiere of War for the Planet of the Apes, and they're not allowed to drop their reviews yet, but they are allowed to say stuff on social media. And what he said, which is the best / worst thing I could have heard, is it's the best Apes movie since 1968.
I'm hearing very similar things from a lot of different people.
Yeah, so to me, I almost wish he hadn't said that,
Right.
Because that's like, well, let's not put our gaze too high,
Yeah.
But I think I mentioned this earlier, that at the same time as Transformers: The Last Knight, I had the opportunity to see an early screening of Apes. But because I knew we were going to be having this conversation, I was like, well, I'll catch Apes a little bit later. And kind of a Sophie's choice that was.
Well, I appreciate it because this was a lot of fun.
That's the dedication I have to you and this show, Brian. But as we wrap things up, let me remind everybody, please do go to iTunes, go to Stitcher Radio, leave a review, leave a star rating. I say this every time. I'm really passionate about this. I'm more passionate about this than Michael Bay is about Transformers. Let people know what you think of the show. If you dig it, even 1 or 2 words can make all the difference in a star rating. That will help. So please do spread the word. Once again, I want to thank all the new people who are checking out the show through our venue at Blog Talk Radio. It's been really great to know that a lot of new people have come on board. As if you want to contact us, moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com is the email address, and facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast is our Facebook page. You can reach me on Twitter at Zacky's Corner. That's also my website, just add a.com. You can also find me on Instagram. Real quick, I want to mention that I just posted a retrospective of Batman Returns celebrating his 25th anniversary. That's at fandor.com. And I enjoyed taking a look back at that film, which I think is a flawed but fascinating entry in the Batman canon. So I hope you enjoy reading that. And Brian, anything you want to hype the audience up for?
Yeah, I'm currently writing for a show called Puppy Dog Pals, which is on Disney and Disney Junior. And I would say if you're a fan of puppy dogs or if you have little kids, I'm pretty sure you're going to love it. So check it out.
Very cool. And again, just a reminder, if you haven't listened to it yet, the Batman and Robin commentary is up. And today is the movie's 20th anniversary, so good time to listen. I hope you enjoy that. And we will be back shortly with a new episode. But until then, my name is Zaki Hassan. On behalf of my partner, Brian Hall, thanks for listening.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.